What's up, guys? Welcome back to the I Am Her podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. To stay plugged in, you can listen to episodes on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify at I Am Her. You can also listen in on YouTube at Audaciously Ashley every Monday at 9 a.m. With that being said, of course, I have the same 3 special guests that I had the last time on part 1. We're back with part 2 to answer the last 2 questions and weigh in with our opinions on some of the answers that I have received on these questions. I hope you guys enjoyed part 1, and I hope part 2 is just as enjoyable. If you would like to be on one of my episodes as a guest, you could send me an email at audaciouslym@gmail.com. I will be glad to have you on here. Thank you for listening, and let's go ahead and get started. We have T-Web, whoop whoop, Daryl, whoop whoop whoop, and the goat Coco, whoop whoop whoop. So let's get back into these questions. So we left them off with question number 3 about what valuable lesson do you plan to have taught or will you teach your child or children? So now we're starting off with question 4. What is one thing you do differently from what your parents did when they were raising you? And some of the answers that we received, they were really good. I like this one. I'm doing it differently from my mom. She couldn't or wouldn't talk about sensitive topics such as sex and etc. We talk about everything with our son. I like that.
I like it too.
I feel like everything with your kids should be out in the open. That's the way you establish a connection with them. That way they feel free to come talk to you about any and everything, no matter what. Like, don't make them fear you. If your child fears you, that is the worst thing. Like, it's good for them to fear you in a way of, like, of authority almost. But not so much, because you want them to come open up to you and tell you about things that they have experienced. That way they can get a better insight of someone older and be like, look, I feel like this, but, tell me your thoughts on it. What did you have to go through to get over this? So, Daryl, would you like to start us off with that?
Nah, let me go second.
Well, I'm going to say it like this. Even when your child come to you and they talk to you, make sure you don't hold back, don't kid around, take it seriously. Because if they didn't come to you for support and want the answers, they will go somewhere else. So if they come to you, take everything seriously, what they're saying, and listen. Don't play it off. Don't beat around the bush. Actually listen to them and give them something, come up with something that's really going to be a great answer, and they're very understanding and can trust you.
Mm-hmm. Coco?
I agree with that, because my oldest tells me everything. Sometimes too much, but I'm glad he does, because it's certain things that I feel like he should talk to his dad about that he does not go to his dad about, and he comes to me. I'm glad that he's comfortable enough to come to me. I don't want him to get advice from somebody, one of his friends, and it be the wrong advice. Like, I'm glad he'll come to me with anything, no matter how big, no matter how small. My little one, I don't know. The verdict is out on him right now.
Yeah.
Well, my thoughts on it. First off, in those situations, you got to be very open-minded. You got to hear things from, every aspect. You just can't go off of necessarily your upbringing and beliefs, because, you start in your own household, your own family, which is different from how you were brought up. Every generation changes, from the last, kind of, sort of. And going back to the question where it says, what I would do differently than my parents did with me. We heard a thing that says they would enforce responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say my parents didn't enforce responsibilities, but there could have been more pressure that, to shape and mold me in another direction. They could push me on more things, and I feel that I do that. I don't want my sons going the same route that I went. Not necessarily saying I went a bad route at all, but it's just things that I don't want them to go through or do that I did.
Okay. So, I know I touched bases with this right here on the last episode because I kind of tied it into the question 3. It said, I don't force beliefs on my kids. I let them find out their own identity. I converted to Islam in 2015, and I will teach them stuff here and there, but it's not forced. When I was younger, we were drugged to church almost every day. It began to feel like a chore rather than an exercise of faith. Now, I do believe in that. I was born into a very strict Baptist family. I had to be at church every Sunday, just about. I'm not saying my mom made us get up and go to church, but sometimes, she did, and I'm glad she did. I really do believe in God. I am a full follower of God. I believe in Him full-heartedly. Now, I do incorporate a lot of things that a lot of people would call witchcraft, which I don't feel so much as witchcraft because, the saging and the meditation, I feel like that could really help you. That has centered my energy and helped me to grow as the woman that I am now. I'm still doing my research on all these things, but the saging and the meditation and the reading about crystals and all that, I'm still learning about it, but it has really helped my growth. And alongside that, I know you all have seen me share podcasts with my best friend. She's talking about her spiritual growth, which you should definitely go check it out at Eyes Wide Open Pod. She speaks about this, and I go to her for advice. Before I even knew that she was into this, I had already started my research. And it's once I knew that this was that, I started, talking to her and asking her for advice on certain things. It's a lot of things that I choose to do differently. No, I have not shown my kids this, but I have shown them a lot of manifestation ways. I tell them, whatever you want, you speak it into existence, you go get it. It's yours. And so far, they have been doing that. And, it's coming along, not as fast as we want it to. But it's definitely getting there, and we could tell the growth in all of that. So, the valuable lesson thing, a lot of you guys had a really good response for that. Never give up, keep pushing, live your life. I know it's a lot of things that can go into that, because we could teach a child something, but all kids are going to go their separate ways and figure out ways that work for them, because not every way that you do is going to work for them, if that makes sense. I could sit up here and be like, well, I do this and do that, so I feel like you should do it. It may not work for them, so I'm not going to tell them that you should do what I did. I want you to go out there and find your way and figure out what's best for you and what helps you grow as a human being. Right. So yeah.
Can't be my
and
way
that's not,
highway.
Yeah, that's not the same thing like you are forcing belief on a kid or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It just, they got to know God.
Yep.
But it's up to them to accept God.
Right. In
their belief. You got to put God out there in your belief and how you believe in God. But for them to accept God, your guidance is the way they're going to accept God. Mm-hmm. If you have God in your life, what else you think they're going to believe in? That's just like, you're going to go to church. You're going to believe, you're going to read, you're going to pray. You got to instill that into them. Mm-hmm. And once you instill it into them, you don't force it with them. If they see you on a daily basis, it's going to absorb in them. Because your child watches what you do every day. Mm-hmm. That whatever you do on a daily basis, it's instilled into that child.
And see, that goes back to question 1. What have you known to be true as a parent? Consistency.
Consistency.
Somebody said that. Well, a couple people said that. Consistency, yes, it definitely plays a part in it.
Big major
So if
role.
they see if they see you being consistent with certain things, whether it be religious or just everyday life things, like that's what they're gonna pick up.
And what we're saying right now really gonna tie into the next question for me.
Mm-hmm. Coco, do you have anything to add to 4 before I start on with the other response we got for question 4?
No.
Okay, the other response that we wanted to put our 2 cents in, basically, our opinion on question 4. We have a response that says, one thing I would do differently is build a trust fund for my kids. Growing up, I got things that I wanted, which was materialistic, but I didn't have wealth, so I had to learn how to survive for myself, even with the things I was taught. So setting them up for the future is a top priority. That way, they don't have to deal with debt, how they're going, or figuring out how they're going to get to their next meal, and etc.
Yeah.
That plays both parts. Because if you think about it, you can spoil a child too.
Yep.
And you can spoil them too much.
Right.
And then that can damage them too in the world. But
They
you
feel
still want
entitled.
them to
Yeah,
work
I'm saying go-
for what, how you got where you at. Because it worked both ways. You want them to have everything, but you got to show them how you got there to have everything.
Right.
So they got to have some type of consistency to work and earn for what they're living for.
Right. Like, I have taken full responsibility of teaching my kids. Well, I'm not going to say full responsibility, but I have taught them, you're going to have to work for everything that you want. Like, they have a YouTube channel. And if you guys are interested, if you would like to subscribe or go watch some of their videos, it's the Izzy and Lizzie Show. They want this so bad, but I'm like, you know what? We can have a team around us building this, but if you want it that bad, you will work for it. And that goes back into what? Question 2. Everything in life isn't free. Some people said that, like, you have to work to get what you need. So I'm teaching them how to network and use social media to their advantage so they can grow their own channel, so they'll value the hard work that it took to get there. That way they will respect it more and they will keep going and doing what they need to do to put out some content that people will enjoy. I'm not trying to make it seem like a regular 9-to-5 to them. I really want to see if they really enjoy it, to make sure this is something that y'all want to do long term, because once you start putting stuff out there, people are going to be looking for it, And as far as the response that we got, I agree with it, but the whole learn how to survive, I feel like a lot of people that learn only how to survive, you're taught to step on people's toes to get what you need. And that is the worst thing to ever do. Like, you don't ever want to step on somebody else's toes to try to one up them. You want to at least try to work with people. Like, you're trying to build this thing to network, to get people on your side, to get people to just fill you out on certain topics. Like, you don't ever want to burn a bridge, because you never know when you need to go back and cross that bridge. Like, you don't want to cut people out that you need it, and then you got to come back and be like, hey, I apologize. I did this and that was wrong. It was on my behalf and my ego. You don't want to do that. Like, I know no man or woman wants to go back and be like, I apologize for how I handled this. I know it was wrong. It was all my ego playing a part in it. Like, I don't have a problem with doing that, because I know in the past I have let my ego get in the way. But as far as now, like, that whole survival tactic, you're going to have to let that go. Like, lean on people that will be there, like, that will support you. That's what the whole support system is for, and the having a village to raise a child. Like, that's what everybody's here for. You can't use that survival tactic on people that are actually supporting you. Like, I feel like that is the biggest thing that hurts a lot of co-parenting relationships and everything. Like, it plays a big part in that. So what do you guys feel about that? I dig the whole trust fund thing and building something to leave for your kids. I dig that. Like that's something big right there. Like that's
I always
good.
believe in that. That's something you want to do anyway because the world is changing. Everything is changing. So you never know what's the next day gonna be like. You live for today. So anything can happen. So in order for you to establish your kids and yourself, you got to, establish your kids, you got to establish yourself. If you don't establish yourself, you won't establish your kids. So that goes all the way back to, they watch what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if they see what you're doing, you're instilling in them to go ahead and do the same thing for their kids in the long run.
Right, because I do not want to see my kids going somewhere and tearing some other kids down just to make it to the top. Because if I see that, I will probably snatch my kids up and wear them out in front of everybody. I know that's not the best way to put it, but I don't want my kids to put that image out there of themselves because they are very sweet. Like either one of them would give you the shirt off their back if you needed it.
And then you got some folks up there that have been at the top, y'all. This life is real.
Mm-hmm.
You got some folks that been up at the top and they doing what they did to get there, and now you see them today. It's like, wow,
you fell all the way down here because you burned bridges on the way up there.
Like, man, what happened? And then if you really want to know how to go to the next level, don't look down on them. Ask them. They can probably help you.
Right. Even the people that you feel like aren't really on the level that you're on, they could possibly be working there. Like, don't tear them down because they're trying to get to where you are now. Because the moment you tear them down, all you're doing is tearing your empire down.
Bingo.
That's it.
Yep.
Coco, Dare. Me and T-Well pretty much took over on that one. I'm sorry. So, moving on to the last question. It says, I'm sorry. What is your worst fear when it comes to raising your child or children? We've got a couple of responses for that. Like, I got to go back and read some of these before we just start weighing in on them. Like, one of them would be dealing with peer pressure from other kids who are being raised differently. And we have another one that says, me dying and not leaving nothing for them, whether it be wisdom or a pedestal to financial freedom. What's the point of living and not making an impact on your children?
I love that.
Me too.
Right.
And there's this one.
That's one I like.
You know what?
That's
Let's weigh in. Let's weigh in on this one first, and then we're gonna go to the next one because I feel like we'll have a lot to say about the last one. Mm-hmm.
I really think because that one right there, what's the point of living? I mean, it's actually weighing in on everything you're doing in life.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that subject right there actually going to top everything we about to discuss.
It is, because you don't want to go through life doing nonsense and bullshitting around, and then when it comes time for you to die, you're looking at your kids like, I'm so sorry. I know now that I could have did a whole lot more to have you set up. We don't want to do that. Like, I looked at my life like that because at 29 years old, I had to realize, okay, Ashley, you still have a full life ahead of you. What are you doing? Why are you sitting out here doing all this nonsense when you can be doing this to build something for your kids and help them build their dreams? Because they've come to me for years about YouTube, for years, and finally last year in 2019. After Christmas, I was like, come on, y'all want to do y'all YouTube? Let's just do it. We just put it out there. It was that's my thing. I'm very reckless when it comes to dreams. Like, if I say I'm going to do something and you tell me you want to do something, just go ahead and put it out there. Do the research along the way. It gets better. Just put out the content that you feel like people will be engaged to. Let them know who you are. Like, that's what I did with this whole thing. And I feel like it's growing at a good pace. And you just learn along the way. A lot of people could be like, hey, how did you do this? And you be like, hey, look, I just jumped right on in there because...
It's like pushing yourself. You're going to make mistakes, and you're going to always have a bump in the road. But for every bump in the road, you always cover it up.
I know
and
we
pave your
all
way.
saw a response that was like, let me see if I can find it here. I know it was like life and chances. Like, I know I wanted to say life is about chances. Like, you have to take a chance to just get yourself out there and just be who you're supposed to be. Like, nothing is ever planned. Nothing. You don't wake up and be like, I'm going to be a billionaire of this and this company. Like, you have to plan for that. You have to take chances that could possibly be risking your life to get there. You know, like, you have to, right. Like, you have to throw a lot out there. Life is about sacrifices and chances. Like, if you don't take those chances and...
It's full of chances.
Right. And you don't take those sacrifices, like... I can't tell you where you would be. Like, if you can get through life without making chances and sacrifices, kudos to you. I'm trying to be like you, boo-boo. But I have to make chances and sacrifices every day.
And never regret any mistakes that you make, because they're there to make you better. The mistakes.
They help you grow, and they put you in a better position. And that way you're able to view certain situations in different ways because you've already experienced them. And if you haven't, you know, you should always be willing to value other people's opinions, because other people have experienced this stuff. And then, like, for me, hearing other people's testimonies and experiences, I learned from those. I'm like, okay, all right. Because I'm hot-headed still sometimes. But, like, hearing other people talk about certain subjects, I'm like, okay, girl, okay, all right. And I'm learning to looking at, well, I said that wrong. I'm learning to look at everything as a blessing at any angle. Even if it's something bad, it's like, dang, that messed me up. But I'm trying not to say that. I'm trying to be like, okay, well, that wasn't meant for me. Let me look at it this way, because it could be saving me from this. You know? So, yeah. Coco, Daryl? What do you think?
My thing was with the what is it? What they said? Leaving a pedestal for your kids to be financially stable.
Mm-hmm.
You also don't want to just work and work and work and then not have anything to show for it,
Right.
either. So, I mean,
I feel what you're saying with that. You don't want to work so much to where your kid just be like, well, my mama was always at work, so that's all I know how to do. So if you want to spend time with me, you're going to have to follow me to work or something. You're going to have to pay me per hour or whichever way I spend with you. You know, that's been portrayed in a lot of Tyler Perry movies. Tyler Perry put that out there. Like, yeah, he did. Like, I feel that.
He made great movies, too.
Mm-hmm. It's good to take a break from that. Daryl?
I look at question 5 differently, where it says, what is your worst fear when it comes to...
We ain't on there yet, though.
Huh?
We ain't on there yet.
Oh, we ain't on question 5 yet?
No, we're still
I
on
thought
question
I thought we had made it to 5. I'm sorry.
Look, you're ready to jump on into 5.
Look, I'm anticipating
But
5.
you know, I'm feeding into 5.
My bad.
I'm feeding into 5. Look. Keep that anticipation, though. They're waiting on it.
I apologize.
They're waiting on it. So, T-Web, do you have anything else to weigh in on question 4 before we go to 5? Before Daryl spill all the beans?
It's so many things just tie into. I guess that's why I over anticipate.
That's why I felt like at first when I asked these questions, I was like, is this gonna make something tie in? Like, that's what I was looking for, like to tie into something so we can get a good message out. Like, I like this. This is going really well. So, all right. Question 5, since nobody has anything else to say about question 4. What is the worst fear when it comes to raising your child or children? Now, this one right here is the topic of a lot of other topics due to Dwayne Wade and him raising his son or daughter, whatever you want to call it. You know, this one right here, it stuck out to me. This person said, besides death, having a child that would choose to like the same sex, it may sound crazy, but I don't know how to take it. Of course, I would still love my child unconditionally, but that would take some time for me to process. Being that's either a boy or a girl. Before I state my opinions, I would like to give you guys the floor to state yours.
I feel part of what he's saying, but you can't be that way because that's your child regardless. You might not agree with their lifestyle choices or whatever, but in the end, that's not your life to live. That's their life. All you can do is love them regardless, you know what I'm saying? But, that don't mean you got to go along with everything that they want to do anyway, you know what I'm saying? It's like, y'all just got to have your own boundaries within those things, but you can't stop loving your child regardless.
Right.
How they choose to live their life.
In the end, that's still your DNA running, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's still you.
Right. T-Web or Coco?
I mean, I agree with what Daryl said, because if you say, okay, I love you, my child, I love you, but now I can turn off my love for you because you chose this lifestyle over this lifestyle. That's putting a condition on how you love your child.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like that's right, in my opinion.
Right.
It's not.
I know my worst fear is, just saying to myself and just looking into your child's eyes and fearing that you fail as a parent, You'll hate to see that, in your child's face. Because things in life are so hectic and heavy, and you want to be there for them as much as you can and support them, guide them, and lead them in the right direction. But how can you do that when you ain't got yourself right?
That's my worst fear, is not living up to, I'm not going to say living up to the expectations, but being the best examples in whatever or however I want my child to go throughout life or whatever, worrying about, did I do that the best I could? Did my child see what I was saying? Am I acting that out too? Like, that's my worst fear, of not being the best example in, like I said, whatever. Is like, I can't explain. I was ready to explain, but now I can't explain. But just not being the best example in any area of life, that my child can look back on, like, well, Dad was a man of integrity, or he was a man of his word, or if he say he's gonna do right, stop drinking, stop smoking, just whatever, he actually stopped doing it. Daddy said he was gonna do this, or Daddy was a sound, stable man. You know what I'm saying?
You basically want your kids to look at you and be proud, basically.
Just a good example for them, something to build off of. I don't want to be, man, Daddy wasn't shit. When they grow up, when they grow up and get to thinking about it.
Yeah.
Daddy want me to do all this stuff, and he want me to listen to what he's saying, blah, 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 blah. But he wasn't doing none of that. Like, why should I, I feel like T-Well was a better example of saving money, not, wasting money. I want to be the best example in everything to my child, and that's my worst fear, of not, doing that, being good enough.
Like, I definitely feel like no matter what path your child chooses, you should definitely be behind them 100%, even though you do not agree with the path that they chose. But you just never know. Like, I know what the Bible says about this type of stuff, but I try to instill, a lot of knowledge into my kids to know. That way they know, don't judge people like this. And if you choose to be like that, I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to be there for you 100%, no matter what. Like, I'm not going to look down on you because I feel like you betrayed me in any kind of way. Like, I'm going to be there. Like, that is a very touchy subject, and that's why I didn't too much entertain the whole Dwayne Wade and his upbringing of his son, and his son want to come out as a girl. Like, that's their life. Like, they're human just like we are. Like, you have to let them live, and y'all, throwing that backlash out there. Think about it, if it was you and your child. How would you feel if somebody was always coming to you with some negative stuff and doing all this? Like, you can sit up here with a steel rod and hold it up to your child and be like, you better not like this, you better not like that. But that child gonna do what that child wants to do.
Well, you're dead and gone anyway.
Right.
And not only that, it ain't really got to be just your child. It's always somebody in your family got some type of problem. So, you never be judging anybody. If the child decide to do that, don't judge.
Right. Like back to what I know we read one of the responses where somebody said, I never want my kids to fear me. Yes, I might be upset. Yes, I'm gonna yell. Yes, I'm gonna do this, but I don't want you to be scared to come and tell me, because at the end of the day, you're my child. I love you. I want to be there for you. I feel that. Like if one of my kids was to come to me and be like, Mama, I like this and that, I don't really too much care for that. Like if it's something that upsets me, I'm going to let them know, it upsets me, because I feel like you sharing your emotions, it plays a big part in all of your relationships, whether it's with your kids, your mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, nephew, niece, uncle, aunties, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like all of that plays a part in that. And I feel like it'll give somebody a better understanding of where you're coming from if you go ahead and do that. Yes, I might be upset, but I want you to know I'm here for you, and you don't never need to hide anything from me.
Right.
So I definitely agree with that. And I also have a response right here, which I know my mama would like this one because she has been preaching this to me for the longest. This guy said, my worst fear is that my son's friends will erase all the good traits we have tried to instill in him. My mama would have a field day with that, because she would tell me all the time, such and such ain't your friend, and this and that. But what I was trying to tell my mama all along, I was in a dark place. I was the bad influence, I ain't gonna lie, I was the bad influence. I have no problem saying that. Like now I feel like I can be as honest and open as I feel like I need to be. I was the bad influence.
I always feel like, me personally, I can't choose my child friends or who they hang out with, because I'm not around them 24/7.
Right.
And when they go to school, when they at school together, they're going to see each other.
Yep.
So, I feel like that. I always say to myself, I know if I'm raising my child right, they're going to make the right decision.
And their personalities are different from yours. So, you have to let your child be around people with personalities that are similar to theirs. And then, one day they will learn from whoever it is that is in their circle. Like, one day they're going to learn something, whether it's not to trust so much or love a little bit more or watch your surroundings. They're going to learn something. Like, I learned a whole lot. Like, to this day, I tell a lot of people, I was the bad influence in my friend circle. I have no problem saying that. I was the bad influence. Like, you can tell me all day such and such wasn't my friend. Well, baby, maybe it was me. I know it was me now, but I have changed my ways, so therefore it's not me anymore. Certain people that I felt like I have had to fix relationships with, I have fixed those. Or if I haven't, I'm on the way to fix those. I'm just waiting for the right clarification on how to approach the situation. So. And Daryl, I'm sorry for earlier. We were on question 5. I was just listening to T Webb how he went back to question 4. We were definitely on question 5.
I thought we was on question 5.
I apologize. I got so deep into listening to T Webb, like
I was like, man, was I anticipating that bad?
No, you weren't. I'm sorry. I was just listening to T Webb and listening to what he had going on and going back and resonating on question 4, and it just we're on question 4. I'm sorry. But all in all, yeah. A
lot of them just got ties to each other, so it's easy to slide in and out of each question, Mm-hmm. It's because everything's so broad,
They all relate.
In some type of way, at some point, they have relatable topics in it.
They do. I felt like this was a great questionnaire for men, and I hope that I had enough women to tune in to understand, where some of the men are coming from and hearing their sensitivity, since we barely get to hear it. Like, I feel like it's a good door opener for men to be a little bit more open in their relationships, or just to go speak to somebody that they have a child with and be like, hey, look, this is what's bothering me. How can we fix it? I feel like the woman would respond a lot more. How am I trying to say this? I feel like the woman would respond a little better with that. If it's a woman now. I'm not speaking for the little girls that want to be childish, but I'm speaking for the women. Now, if you come to a woman and let them know, look, this is what's bothering me, this is why I feel this way, and this, and that, I feel like a lot of you could open up and actually really show that side of you without feeling like you're weak. Now, the approach of a little girl, I can't help you with that. You're just going to have to at least, just give her room to grow as a woman, Life will get a hold on people. It got a hold on me, and God got a hold on me too, and he did not let go. I can say that because I'm still here today. He did not let go. And I feel like this is where I need to let my testimony out and just show and share different topics and my opinions on certain areas that are laid out there to me to share. And I have great friends surrounding me, as you could tell, with different opinions. We all respect each other's opinions. Even though we argue from time to time, ain't that right, guys? That's my fault, too.
But it's good. It's good for the soul.
If we all thought the same,
it would be boring.
It'd be a problem.
Right.
Just sitting there saying, okay. Okay.
Don't agree with me and everything. What? Like, if I feel like somebody's agreeing with me in everything, I'm going to be like, look, we're going to disagree on something somewhere that's what keeps the relationship healthy.
All right.
No matter what it is. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'm glad. God dog, T-Well, we ain't over with yet. Now you want to make all the ruckus and the racket that you want to make?
He's drunk.
No, he's not. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Again, if you want to stay plugged in and listen to old episodes, you can find me on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at I Am Her. You can also find me on YouTube at Audaciously Ashley. If you would like to follow me and keep up with, my everyday life on Instagram or Twitter, you can find me on Instagram at audaciously_me_ and on Twitter at Ashley_NoBanks. And if you would like to be a guest on one of my episodes and just share your story on certain topics that we're speaking on, or if you have a topic that you would like to weigh on with me, we could definitely set aside some time to do that. You can email me at audaciouslym@gmail.com. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. And the guys that I have on here, you can find them on Facebook. Terrence Webb, you can find him at Terrence Webb on Facebook. And Daryl Porter, you can find him at D. Gregory Porter on Facebook. And Coco, you can find her as Coco Porter on Facebook. And that's our married couple right there, y'all. They've been teaching me so much for so many years. Like,
oh Lord, you listen to the wrong folks.
He's lying. Like, I learned a lot. Like, they really sit up here and talk to each other. Like, that's why I learned to really sit down and talk and dissect the situation before I just go in and go ham. But thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again next Monday with another topic. Thank you. Bye.